The Archaeological Institute's deep space expedition vessel, Prometheus, hung in the silence of the Kepler 442 system, like a steel monument to human ambition. Inside its sterile laboratories, Dr. Bella Chen stood before the discovery that would redefine humanity's understanding of the cosmos, and nearly cost her everything. The artifact was massive, nearly 3 meters tall, composed of a crystalline alloy that predated Earth's formation by billions of years. Its surface shimmered with symbols that seemed to shift and breathe under the laboratory's harsh lighting. Bella had spent 6 months decoding the ancient script, her neural implant working overtime to process the mathematical patterns embedded within the alien language. "You're still here," Leo Martinez, the ship's chief engineer, leaned against the doorframe with 2 cups of synthetic coffee. His dark eyes carried the awareness of someone who'd watched a colleague descend into obsession. "It's speaking to me, Leo." Bella didn't look up from her holographic displays. "These aren't just decorative symbols. They're instructions, a prison protocol." Leo set 1 cup beside her workstation. "Bella, the survey team leaves in 48 hours. If you don't present findings to Commander Zhang, they'll classify this as non-essential and move on to the next system." "Non-essential?" Bella finally turned to face him, her eyes blazing with the kind of fire that had made her the youngest xenoarchaeologist in the Institute's history. "Leo, this civilization existed when our sun was still a protoplanetary disk. Whatever they locked away in here was important enough to build a prison that has survived the death and rebirth of stars." Leo sipped his coffee, studying the artifact with an engineer's practical eye. "Or maybe it's a warning. Here lies something we couldn't kill, so we buried it instead." Only one way to find out. Bella's fingers danced across her control panel, initiating the final decryption sequence. "Wait," Leo started forward, but it was too late. The artifact erupted with light. Not the clean white of human technology, but something older, a deep crimson that seemed to carry weight, to press against their retinas like physical force. The laboratory system screamed warnings as energy readings spiked beyond measurable limits. And then the light coalesced into a form. It was vaguely draconian, as humanity would understand such creatures from ancient mythology, but where Earth's dragons were merely reptilian fantasies, this being was something far more profound. Its body seemed constructed from living equations, mathematical principles given flesh and fire. Wings that shouldn't exist in 3-dimensional space folded against a torso that phased in and out of observable reality. Eyes like binary stars regarded Bella, with an intelligence that made her feel like a child playing with forces beyond comprehension. Finally, the entity spoke, its voice resonating through every atom of the Prometheus, causing the ship's hull to vibrate in harmonics that human engineering had never intended. 5,743,212,000 years. I counted every second. Bella's neural implant was flooding her consciousness with data, warning her that what she was seeing couldn't exist, that the being violated every known law of physics, that her sanity was in question. She ignored all of it. "Who are you?" Her voice was steady, the product of years of training in first contact protocols. The dragon's form stabilized, becoming more solid, more real. "I am DSIGNATED, Keeper of BOUNDRAS. Your linguistic framework would translate my purpose as Guardian, Warden, Protector of the Threshold between DIME and SIONS. And we just let you out of prison," Leo said quietly, his hand moving slowly toward the emergency lockdown controls. "Prison?" The dragon's laughter was like the sound of stars colliding. "OH, small engineer with brave hands, this was never a prison. This was a sanctuary, a refuge from the war that consumed the ancient galaxy." Alarms began wailing throughout the ship. Bella's communicator erupted with Commander Zhang's urgent voice. "Dr. Chen, what the hell is happening in Lab 7? We're detecting a gravitational anomaly that's pulling us off orbit. The dragon tilted its massive head. Your vessel is primitive, fragile. My mere presence distorts the local spacetime continuum. If I remain here, your ship will collapse into a singularity within your hour. Then leave, Leo shouted, finally hitting the emergency protocols. Steel doors began sliding shut, force fields activating, all utterly useless against a being that existed partially outside conventional space. I cannot. The sanctuary was designed to open only when one of sufficient courage and curiosity APPARED, one who would be willing to understand rather than fear, one who would accept the responsibility. Those stellar eyes fixed on Bella. You freed me. Now you must help me complete my purpose. What purpose? Bella asked, even as she felt the ship shuddering around her, felt the artificial gravity beginning to fail. The war that drove me into Sanctuary, it never ended. It merely moved beyond this dimensional plane. But the victors left behind SCEDS, weapons, FAILSAFES designed to activate when certain conditions were met. The dragon's form began to shift, showing Bella visions through its translucent body, worlds burning, civilizations crumbling, a cascade of destruction spreading through the galaxy like dominoes falling. One such weapon lies dormant in your home system. In 7 of your years, humanity will accidentally activate it during construction of your DYSON array. Earth and all its COLONIES will be sterilized. That's impossible, Leo breathed. We've surveyed every meter of the Sol system. It exists in FOLDED space, invisible to your instruments, but I can guide you to it. I can teach you to neutralize it, but only if you bond with BELLACHEN, only if you become my anchor to this reality. Bond. Bella's mind raced through xenobiology databases, but nothing prepared her for what the dragon was suggesting. My consciousness is too vast for your physical plane. I need a translator, a bridge. You would retain your identity, but you would carry me within your neural structure. We would be separate yet unified, 2 minds in dialogue. Bella, no, Leo grabbed her arm. You don't know what this thing really is. It could be lying, manipulating you. Show me, Bella interrupted, looking directly into those impossible eyes. Show me the weapon, prove you're telling the truth. The dragon's form pulsed with approval. It extended what might be called a claw, an appendage of pure mathematics, and touched the laboratory's main display screen. Instantly, the holographic systems went mad, projecting images that made Bella's enhanced brain struggle to process them. She saw Sol's system as it would be in 7 years, saw the construction crews working on humanity's greatest engineering achievement, the partial Dyson sphere that would provide unlimited energy. Saw them drill into what appeared to be an ancient asteroid, unremarkable among billions. Saw the moment the drill bit pierced a chamber that existed in 11 dimensions simultaneously. Saw Earth die. Not quickly, not mercifully. The weapon was designed by a civilization that understood suffering could be weaponized. It would take 3 months for the last human to perish, and every second would be agony beyond description. Oh God, Bella whispered, tears streaming down her face. Leo, it's real. I can feel the mathematics of it, the probability structures. This isn't a simulation or manipulation. This is genuine precognitive modeling based on current trajectories. Leo's face had gone pale. Then we warn Earth, we send a message. Insufficient. Your governments would delay, debate, form COMMITTES. The weapon cannot be destroyed by your technology. It must be unwoven from reality itself. Only I possess the knowledge. Only BELLA possesses the courage. The ship lurched violently. Commander Zhang's voice came through again, desperate now. All hands abandon ship. We're losing structural integrity. Repeat, abandon ship. Bella looked at Leo, then at the dragon, then at the holographic projection still showing Earth's death. She thought of her parents in New Shanghai, her sister's children, the billions who had no idea that their future hung in the balance of this moment. If I do this, if I bond with you, will I still be me? You will be more. But yes, the essence of BELLACHEN will remain. I have no desire to erase what makes you unique. Your humanity is precisely what I need. Bella, please, Leo's voice broke. There has to be another way. She took his hand, squeezed it. You know there isn't. You're the engineer. You've seen the numbers. This ship has maybe 5 minutes before it tears apart. We don't have time for another way. Then I'm coming with you, whatever happens. No, Bella smiled sadly. Someone needs to tell the Institute what happened here. Someone needs to make sure my research survives so they understand what we're dealing with. That's you, Leo. Promise me. Leo's jaw clenched, but he nodded. I promise. Bella turned back to the dragon and held out her hand. I accept. Show me how to save my species. Close your eyes. This will feel like drowning in STARS. The dragon flowed forward, and Bella's world exploded into sensation beyond human vocabulary. She felt her consciousness expand across dimensions she'd never known existed. Felt the dragon's memories pouring into her, eons of existence, wars that rewrote the laws of physics, loves and losses that transcended matter and energy. But through it all she held on to herself, held on to the memory of her father teaching her to identify constellations, her first published paper, the taste of real chocolate, rare and precious, Leo's friendship. When she opened her eyes, she was still Bella Chen, but she was also so much more. The laboratory was stabilizing around her. The dragon's physical form had vanished, but she could feel it within her neural pathways, a vast presence that somehow fit perfectly alongside her own thoughts. Well done, young scholar, the dragon's voice whispered in her mind, gentle now, almost affectionate. You held firm. Many would have been consumed. How long do we have? Bella asked aloud for Leo's benefit. 7 years to reach Earth and locate the weapon. But for us, time is no longer quite so linear. We have work to do. Bella looked at Leo, who was staring at her with a mixture of awe and terror. I'm still me, she assured him, just amplified. Your eyes, he whispered, they're glowing like binary stars. She touched her face, feeling the warmth radiating from within. Get to the escape pods. I'll hold the ship together long enough for everyone to evacuate. What about you? Bella smiled, and it was her smile but touched with something ancient and knowing. I don't need a ship anymore, not for where I'm going. As Leo ran for the evacuation stations, as alarms screamed and the crew scrambled for survival, Bella Chen stood in the center of the disintegrating laboratory and reached out with her newfound senses. She could feel the fabric of space-time, could see the weak points where the dragon's presence had stressed it. And she began to weave it back together. It took everything she had, every bit of her training, her will, her courage, combined with the dragon's ancient knowledge. But slowly, impossibly, the Prometheus stabilized, gave the crew time to escape. When the last pod had launched, Bella walked to the viewport and looked out at the stars. Earth was 7 light-years away, an impossible distance for a human. But she wasn't just human anymore. Ready? The dragon asked. Ready, Bella confirmed. And she stepped through the hull of the ship, not breaking it, but phasing through it as if the metal were merely a suggestion, and into the void of space, where she didn't die, didn't freeze, but instead spread her newly manifested wings and began the journey home. Behind her, the Prometheus hung in space, empty but intact, a monument to the day humanity learned it wasn't alone in the universe, a reminder that sometimes the greatest discoveries require the greatest sacrifice. And ahead, Earth waited, unaware that its salvation was coming on wings of starfire and mathematics, carried by a young woman who had dared to unchain an ancient dragon, and found that her life would never be the same.